Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Trade Talks Unlocking the Experience. I'm Kayla McGowan, and today I have quite a few special guests, and we're going to be diving into our keynote, which is the Catastrophe Preparedness Panel. On our panel, I have some old and new friends of mine who are industry professionals, experts, and well beyond that. Please welcome Barry, Darren, Ryan, and John. All right, guys.
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, how are you guys? For those of you guys that don't know some of the lovely gentlemen on this call, if we wanted to just give it like a brief little who you are, that'd be great. Maybe 30-second elevator pitch would be awesome.
Great. I'll
Barry.
go. There you go. Barry, you're up.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Rice. I am the Environmental Health and Safety Director for Signal Restoration Services and for PureClean. We are a family of companies. I have been in the restoration business somewhat on and off for over 15 years. And I guess one of my big motivations here is to help spread environmental health and safety knowledge throughout the restoration industry. And especially in this case, CAT events, I guess you could say maybe one of my specialties, or I've been involved with a lot. And so their uniqueness and their risks as well as their rewards are something that's kind of a near and dear to my heart. So I'm very glad to be on this panel and hopefully help out and provide information to others who don't have access to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. Darren, you want to take it away?
Sure. My name's Darren Hudima. I'm the Director of Training for PureClean. I run the Academy for onboarding new franchises as well as technicians that come in for training, IICRC classes. We arrange a lot of different disciplines as far as training is concerned here. I've been in the industry 46 years, I think now. And I've done just about everything from being a technician to a successful business owner, working for as manufacturer's rep for Legend Brands Dry Ease, director of operations for independent company. A lot of different avenues that I've been involved in 46 years, as well as working in large loss. So essentially some of the challenges that have been seen, we'll get an opportunity to discuss a little bit this afternoon and kind of what the appetite for what's coming for the experience in Punta Gorda.
Thank you, Darren. John, you want to take it away?
Yeah. So my name's John Reesner. I'm the Senior Director of Catastrophe Response and Services for Paul Davis Restoration. I've been in the industry now for about 14 years. Been with Paul Davis and in the network for a little over 8 years. Started out on the franchise side, inside of an office as a general manager, mitigation manager, and handled a lot of catastrophe response. And currently, my position at Paul Davis is to maximize our response and being able to help as many people in their time of need as possible. What I get out of it is the reward factor. I love serving people and being the hero, so to speak, for people in their time of need. And I get to do that on a large scale here at Paul Davis. I'm responsible for basically getting as many people into the catastrophe area as safely as I can and organizing our entire response.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Ryan.
Yes, Ryan Geiger here. I'm the VP of Sales for a product called Vital Oxide, which we are a stabilized chlorine dioxide disinfectant, cleaner, sanitizer, odor eliminating product that's both effective on mold and mildew. I have over, plus 20 years of experience in the restoration industry on contractor and chemical manufacturing side. And I'm just delighted to kind of, shed a little light on, as Barry said, the risk reward of CAT work and, just kind of prepare those who are looking to get into it and kind of what the expectations should be.
Awesome. Thank you guys. And we are missing one of our members. It's Miss Rachel Adams. Those of you know her as probably the mold queen. She too will also be on our panel and you'll hear from her as well. So, just a couple of quick questions, like Darren said, kind of, wet your whistle for what's coming. And one of them is, what do you think people can expect from this panel? I know that's a very vague question, but maybe it's more of, back to the basics or, what our goal is here with this. And whoever wants to take the hot seat, go for it.
I guess I'll jump in since I had started last time. I think we all bring a perspective to the table, so to speak. But if you listen to the what we gave as kind of our bio, you hear the years of experience and the level of involvement, and especially on the cat side and large loss side. So we can bring that knowledge and those experiences, and saying it again, risk and reward. Both the good and the bad of what to look for as we started this panel and had initial discussions. That was exactly along those lines, those risks and those rewards. So I think I think it's a voice of experience and passing on knowledge. On my side of it, it's environmental health and safety risk.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would definitely say too, with all of your years of experience combined, you guys all started somewhere, right? And I think that's the beauty of this. There's so much to learn around everything we do every day, but particularly in any catastrophe situation, because we have fires, we have hurricanes, and all these other things that happen, and they aren't the same. No situation is always, the same. There may be similarities, but they're not the same. So with that being said, does anybody else want to weigh on anything in there? I think you guys probably all have something to say, so I'll let Darren take the floor. Well, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I think what's important when you start looking at cat work, responding to large loss events. This particular past summer, it was not one but two that hit, within weeks of each other. And responding to these areas requires, a significant amount of resources, the logistics that are involved in responding to these types of events, and making sure that when you're coming in, that you've got a lot of different things that are in place before you even think about responding. We talk about, Barry mentioned, exposure to contaminants and mold. Those are important. So the health and safety is paramount. It's your single most and priority is making sure that your team is well protected. What does that involve? We come in, a lot of times we'll see on social media, people are posting pictures of the type of work they're doing and they're not wearing the proper personal protection equipment, exposing themselves to significant dangers. Then you look at electrical hazards, structural integrity issues, heat stress, fatigue, chemical exposures. There's so many different factors that are involved with catastrophic response that if you're not prepared, you don't know what it is that you're looking for, you can put yourself at significant risk. And ultimately, depending on what you're leaving behind, put your business in significant liability because you're leaving it behind to chase some of the cat work. So there's a lot of things to consider before responding to an area that's had significant damage due to tornadoes, fires, hurricanes. We're going to touch on hurricanes in this round, but essentially this affects everything that you do, leaving home and going to an area that's in need.
Yeah, 100%. John, Ryan?
Yeah. So, I mean, to continue that conversation, I mean, that's one of the biggest responsibilities that I have here is meeting with offices prior to any event for them deploying and putting, a deployment plan together that includes safety, that includes your personnel, that includes all of the responsibilities that each participant on your CAT team is going to be responsible for. And I think that's incredibly important to make sure that you do that ahead of time so that you don't have any emotion involved, you don't have any of the urgency involved. Those where the mistakes are made, is because people are saying, "Oh, a hurricane's about to hit tomorrow. Let's hurry up and put a bunch of stuff together and make a rash decision to go." I don't think that's a very good plan at all. I think it's extremely important to sit down with your staff and make sure that you have the resources available, that you mark those resources, that you set resources aside to make sure that you have the safety equipment and the proper PPE and different things available, and you have it readily go that's not part of your everyday to-day business, so that you specifically set aside things for your CAT response. I can't preach it enough to remove as much of the urgency and the emotion that you possibly can on the front end, because there's going to be that regardless, right? Like, there's so much of the unforeseeable that you have to do, and so many variables go into it, that it's so important to take care of what you know and what you can do ahead of time.
Yeah, 100%. Ryan, anything to add there?
Yeah, well said, John. I think I can confidently say with this group, what you're going to get is the brutal, honest truth. You're going to get the good, the bad, the ugly, but most importantly, I think you're going to get, the proper information that you can maybe do a deep dive into your business and see if you are even at the point or even have the capacity, to make these trips and get into this kind of cat work. And like John said, and everybody, just safety. Do it successfully, but make sure everybody is safe and all your I's are dotted, T's are crossed before you make that decision.
Yeah, that's so true. And for just clarity purposes, some of the things that we are touching on are, your motivation behind going into these areas after a catastrophe has struck, the logistics, and that involves, your resources, legality, contracts. We're diving into some of the stuff that, may not come to mind when you're in a reactive state. This is meant for us to have a very proactive approach and unify our industry, to be completely honest, so that when you're looking at the person next to you, this could be something that you guys have a collaboration on, and we're able to, at the end of the day, help the consumer efficiently and effectively, because that's what this comes down to. It also comes down to safety, of course, for your staff, because you're no help if you're not, taking safety in consideration, even legality, into what you're doing when you're heading into those areas in particular. And of course, we are talking about health and safety, which we're going to cover PPE, equipment, identifying risks and mitigating them as well. And of course, your employees' well-being. And sometimes this is often forgot, but the community and your client safety, right? Because you're in their space. And so that's just kind of what we're covering. It may not seem like a lot, but it's definitely a lot. I think there's so much that needs to be covered. And so with that being said, let's dive into why we chose these topics. And by means, it was not easy to pick these topics. So Barry, if you want to go ahead and start with the why.
The why is risk. Every time I've talked so far, I've talked about risk and reward. And the why that's it. You're taking, at times, just driving into these places, you're taking a huge amount of risk. To some people have done that. Some people, downed power lines, no gas available. We've probably all been through that on this panel, and it's not a surprise. However, if you're new to it, it takes you by surprise. And I personally can say that at just about every CAT event, I see people, employees or contractors who aren't used to this type of response, and they're struggling with some part of it, whether it be the response of just getting there, or whether it be the conditions once you're there, or let alone the duration of it. I mean, John, how many times have you seen people just 4 or 5 days in, they're just physically wiped out, or they got the wrong boots and the wrong socks, and they're limping. That's the one thing that I commonly see. Day 3 or day 4, I can tell who has on. It's the simplest of things: good socks and good boots, because the ones that don't are limping. So there's a lot of simple things like that, but has a lot, again, has to do with the risk and reward is why I'm doing it.
Awesome. Darren?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Barry. You know, when it comes to when we talk about motivation, I can't say it enough. I say it to all of our offices or anyone interested in doing cat work that you have to be, in my mind, in it for the right reasons. And the right reasons is really having a servant's heart and to help the community and be there in their time of need, and all you're doing is chasing a dollar. If that is your true motivation, I can't see it. I see it time and time again where that just turns into a failure because all of that trickles down from your initial motivation. Because if you're in it for the right reasons, you're going to do the prep work. You're going to talk to your employees about being properly equipped. You're going to talk about the PPE. If you're just there to chase a dollar, I tell people just stay home. Just stay home. That if you're not there to actually serve that community, it's not going to work out good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
one of the
totally agree.
challenges.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
one of the challenges I typically see is, when we come into other states, um, there are licensure requirements, and a lot of people don't pay attention to what those are, putting their business in financial risk of um, fines. Here in the state of Florida, you are required to have a business license in the state. You're also required to be licensed in mold remediation. So if you're not from this state, there's many challenges that you're going to be faced before you even begin to do work. So, understanding what the regulations and rules and laws are for the states that you're responding to. We look at the wildfires in California. The type of work that's got to be done there requires certain licenses. Some cases, even the work just to do tear out, you need to you have a general contractor's license. Then you're dealing with a number of other factors that are important when you get into structural integrity issues. Are the buildings, do they have asbestos issues? Do they have a lead issues? There's so many things that a contractor needs to be aware of, and each state has its own rules and regulations when it comes to the handling of hazardous materials such as asbestos and lead. So, coming in, we have that servant leadership heart. We want to help, traditionally the restoring network, the restoration network, they are wanting to do what they can to help people as soon as they can and as fast as they can. But sometimes you got to put the brakes on to make sure that we're doing it in a responsible way and not putting not only ourselves at risk, employees at risk, or the consumers that we're doing business for that have had detrimental things that have happened to their buildings, their lives at risk as well.
Here,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Agree. Ryan, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love, the servant's heart, the passion. That's why I think that's why we got in the business was the passion of wanting to help people. A lot of these situations, you're meeting people at their lowest point, and to be able to assure them that, they can trust in us for one, that we are the experts, we've had the training and all those things necessary to restore their lives to get them somewhat back to normal. It's such a gratifying feeling for me personally, but that's a huge why. It's just the passion of wanting to help people and get them back to normal. Um, but I agree with everything that the guy said here. It's all encompassing, but I think one of the major things is to have that servant's heart for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say it definitely takes a very special person to do what you guys do on a regular basis. It's not easy, right? You're not just there to do all of the labor. Oftentimes there's an emotional piece of this as well. You have to be empathetic, sympathetic, and just human. honestly. I think at the end of the day, we just have to be good humans and help those who need it most.
Well,
So
there's
go
another
ahead.
component to that too that, a lot of people don't take into account because when you respond to these types of events, you could be gone for weeks at a time. So when you start thinking about weeks at a time, it takes a toll on your family, especially if you do have one. And, for example, I remember one event, I was gone 5 weeks. As you're putting, stabilizing buildings, getting drying programs put into place, dealing with all the logistical issues, yet your family's at home by themselves, So, this industry can take its toll in a lot of different ways, emotionally, physically, and if you're not prepared, it can really play havoc in your personal life too.
Yeah, that's a really great point. There's so many variables, and not only what we do every day, but particularly these types of, situations, like you said, Darren, 5 weeks, that's more than a month in most cases, and a lot happens in a month time.
Yep.
Um, and it is hard, and that's why you need to be prepared. You need to have the right team out there with you. I think that's also very important. And, you know, understanding the risk, but understanding the reward at the same time, right? That's extremely key. And I think everybody shares that mentality here. And I'm so fortunate to have you guys sit on this panel. So we've touched on what we're gonna talk about, right? What we're going to accomplish in round one, I will say. I see a future for some work that we have to do and that we will do together as we've talked about before. But to kind of bring that humanized aspect into who we are outside of industry professionals, if you would like to share a fun fact about you, I think it's just really cool to kind of get to know who we are outside of, business. So Barry, if you want to start first, go ahead and take it away.
Uh, I'm a I'm a Floridian, so I like being on the water. I like to fish, if you can't tell somewhat from my background, and I like anything outdoors. So while we're at the experience, I will be, if you catch me glancing out on the water, it's because I'm looking at places that could probably be fishing.
Darren.
I come from a large family, oldest of 6 kids, and one of the things I ended up having to do early is learn how to cook. So one of my passions is cooking. I do a lot of smoking of various types of meats and vegetables and things to that extent. I spend a lot of time on the grill, a lot of time in the kitchen, and it became a way, when I do spend a lot of time teaching on the road. It was a way for me to disengage and change gears and do something that was relaxing. So we entertain quite a bit. We always got food going on, and Super Bowl is coming up. So we've got about 40 people coming to the house, and we're going to get the big smoker out, and we're going to do a bunch of brisket, sausage, chicken. But I also enjoy with that a good bourbon or two. So I'm a real huge fan. Been on the bourbon trail. We've done that 3 times in a row. That's kind of a little bit of what I like to do, those types of things.
Yeah, for sure. I think I might have to air this after the Super Bowl so you don't get just people popping up at your house for an open invitation. But I knew the bourbon thing about you. I've seen beautiful pictures from Bourbon Trail, and it's beautiful. I think that's the other thing is it's a mixture of art and something that you like to do. John.
Yeah, I was just, what is that address there, Darren?
Right.
You're speaking my love language there, buddy. No,
I'll
so
meet you in Kentucky.
yeah, yeah, I've been known to smoke a couple slabs myself. So, but no, I'm a true Georgia boy, true country family. I've been married for 21 years. I have an adult son. I have a daughter who is a senior in high school. So I'm trying to gather and keep as much time with her as I have left because I know those those moments are going to go few and far between. And I have a 13-year-old son who makes me the father of a child cancer survivor. He fought for 7 years and relapsed 3 times, and he beat it. And we all sing hallelujah. So I spend my time doing whatever it is that he wants to do, whether that's taking the boat out and going fishing, playing golf, or baseball. We're a huge baseball family. Go Braves. So we try to catch as many games as we can. So whenever I am not focused in on a particular cat or training in office or pouring into the Paul Davis network, I am spending every waking minute that I can with my wife and those 3 kids.
Wow, that's a lot, man. I would have never guessed that, right? And I think this is what it's all about because I would have, we wouldn't guess some of these key things in your life based on who we see you in a professional light. So thank you for sharing that. And thank God for your son beating cancer. That's huge. A lot of people don't get the opportunity to say that. And I think it's important. I know in the industry, we do support everybody who goes through that. So thank you for sharing that. You know, Man, I know
Yeah.
he's going to be a tough one when he's older too. Better watch out.
He's got one nice testimony to share, and he shares it on a regular basis. If he walked by you today, you would never know that he fought for more than half of his life. And so we thank God and praise him for saving us and saving him, and we just feel blessed for it.
Yeah, man. We definitely, I think all of us here, you know, I don't think any of us saw that coming, and that's really cool to share because that is a walking testimony, to be completely honest. You are very business oriented. You're here. So I think that's really cool because we all have a story. We're human, right? And I think that's the key thing here. Ryan, what's some fun stuff about you?
Yeah, so I'm a husband and a father to 2 boys, 6 and 15. So you can imagine how busy that keeps me. We're a huge sports family. So my wife played softball in college. I played baseball. They are playing baseball as well now. So in the summer times, you'll find us at a baseball field, typically at a tournament of some sort. I love to cook as well. I'm a huge smoker, but I also like to get into the kitchen and chop up and make everything scratch, and fresh. And I like to spend my time on the golf course when I can find the time. I really enjoy that sport, but yeah, we stay busy over here with the boys.
That's so awesome. So what we're saying is tiki bar and barbecue. Is that what I'm seeing in
Yeah,
our future in April? Okay, I'm gonna hold you guys all to that because I sure love to eat and I think we all here like to drink. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time today to just kind of talk about where we're trying to take things and what people can expect at the experience April 8th through 10th at the Charlotte Harbor Convention Center in Punta Gorda, Florida. And as always, you can register now at rnrmagonline.com. And if you'd like more of our content, videos, editorial, all of the above, you can check us out on our website, social media, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Again, a very special thank you to you gentlemen, Barry, Darren, Ryan, and John. I cannot thank you enough. This is Trade Talks, Unlocking the Experience, and we can't wait to see you there. Take care.